Welcome to the 2024 United Grid League Championship. Southwest Florida Sharks versus the Atlanta Wild. Let's see it. Who will be the Grid League champion for this season? This is the Southwest Florida Sharks versus the Atlanta Wild. Now, these are two teams that have not won a championship yet. The Atlanta Wild are our first national team. Once again, we are from the Florida Grid League, but we have evolved this season to be the United Grid League. We're welcoming in some teams from out of state. We're going national. We're taking this thing by storm. This is the fastest growing team sport in the country, the most exciting sporting experience, and these teams have fought tooth and nail to be part of this today.
I'm just taking a look at those pistol stick jump overs on one leg. It's very important that they land on the one leg, not two leg, or it will be a fault. So they have to pay attention to their technique. They also have to have, as you mentioned, the player in the hash box ready to jump in when they're ready, and they can substitute at any moment.
That's right. We just saw a fault from the Wild because Tristan Meredith was standing in the wrong hash box. You have to be standing in the designated hash box. It looks like the Southwest Florida Sharks have a lead here in this partner forward. Tristan Meredith and Will Rosario trying their best to catch up against Nick Shappy and Chelsea Rainieri. They're looking really strong on these transitions, able to do these movements really fast. They have a very comfortable lead because they're almost an entire element ahead because Chelsea Rainieri is about to finish hers.
I feel like this is going to come down to strategy, Cassie. Both of these teams are strong, they are experienced, and they know what to do on the grid. Any little choppiness when it comes to transitions and those things of that nature, that's what we're going to pay attention to.
That's right. Going into this, we saw these teams beat out everybody else for these spots. We knew that they were going to the playoffs before the weekend even happened because their points were just so much higher than everybody else's, and it looks like they've proven victorious, and these are truly the two best teams to go against each other and that deserve a championship.
When it comes to a championship game like this, it's not just about your skill, it's about your mind. How well do you know the game? What little nuances are you going to bring to the table to put your team over the top and have that edge? So I'm excited to see how they keep going here.
That's right. It looks like the Wild are making up some time here. This is Amanda Fischer and Griffin Roelle for the Wild. And for the Sharks, that's Sam Nalley, and that is Roderick Holloway. He used to actually play for Tampa Bay, but now he is for the Sharks for the very first season.
Keep in mind that this weight gets heavier as they progress down the quadrant. The reps decrease, but it's very important they keep their technique intact because it's going to be tough as they finish up here.
That's right, and I want to correct myself. His name is Griffin Roelle. I always mess that up. He has like that, like, you know,
yep.
that accent.
Rally.
You gotta say it with a little accent with
yes.
it. Sharks are really struggling on those kettlebells. One more rep remaining for the Sharks before they move on to those pistols. You have to imagine from home just how high these are, but
yes.
looking at it here, it's absolutely insane. And if that stick falls, it's your responsibility to pick it up, and it will not count. Who will take? Oh,
nice.
The Wild last second.
Wow.
We're able to make up the time and take that partner forward.
Do you see how close that was, Cassie? That's what we're telling you folks at home. These teams are so evenly matched. Yeah, they have their strengths. Oh, they talking that big talk out there. We're looking forward to seeing how they progress in the next race. Great job.
That's right. And we even saw Amanda Fischer. She jumped over that stick and into the finish line. It was absolutely insane the way she did that. And I don't know if that was on purpose or not. We got to ask her later. But it was very impressive to say the least because she just threw herself over there. In the meantime, I'm here with Eric Cardona of the Fort Lauderdale Lions. Eric, how are you?
I'm good. Got to get this thing adjusted, but there we go.
We spoke earlier. You're wearing civilian clothes. Tough end of the season for you guys, but it's a strong team, you know. No doubt with the leadership of Gold and your veteran expertise that you guys will come back. But how are you feeling not being in the playoffs or in the championship this year?
Honestly, it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even the first year when I was coaching, I don't think I haven't not been in the playoffs. So it's a weird feeling to have it end early and not be out here and get to go to semis and then finals, but it's all part of competing.
That's right, and I'm sure
growing.
you're hungrier than ever now.
Oh, it's lit the fire, so I'm excited to get back with the team and get the training for next year.
Speaking of, we saw you on Instagram completing the forward rows that you were supposed to do on the bar. Tell us a little bit about your training going into that.
The pullovers?
Yeah.
For today's match?
For today's match that you were practicing for.
So we normally have those burpee or deck to pullovers, and now we don't have to drop off the bar, and I figured out a way to really speed it up and not let my hips touch the bar, and so that was a lot of fun. I just figured that out like yesterday, I think, or the day before.
That's awesome.
I was looking forward to being able to do it out here, but it's not going to happen. I guess we'll see next year.
Oh, there's always next year. But we have to let the people know about your shirt. For those of you that don't know, tell them what your shirt is.
This is the San Francisco Fire, one of the original professional grid league teams and the team that drafted me when I first started playing grid.
And from your beginning journey with grid to how it is now, what can you say from just an athlete's perspective about the sport itself and about the caliber of level of athlete that just continues to evolve from here?
It's amazing. I mean, to keep the dream alive, keep the sport of grid alive has been great, and seeing all these other athletes come out of nowhere and the level of athlete we have is great. It's just like the Pro League was, and it's great to still have some of those Pro League players in here, and then you just see all these other random people come in and you're like, wow, they're really good, and it's going to just help the sport grow and build, and I'm excited for the future of it.
That's awesome, Eric. Thank you so much for your time. Good luck on the next season, I guess. That's all we have now. But appreciate your time for sure, and we'll look forward to that next race, the Mirror.
Sounds good, thank you.
Mirror, the second race of every match, always features a barbell element. A male and a female barbell are placed in the first quadrant. Upon the start of the race, both are picked up by the team in any fashion by the 3 men and 3 women allowed in the race at any given time. Once the barbell leaves the ground, it may not touch the ground again until all reps are complete. If it does, the entire team must return to the start line before continuing. A set number of reps must be completed by both genders in each quadrant before the team can move on. Non-lifting players will act as the human rack to support the barbells as the team moves from quadrant to quadrant and switches performing players in the process as needed. Substitutions may happen at any time. Time stops when all reps are complete and the last player crosses the finish line. This strength-focused race has the most players on the grid at the same time and requires effective planning and practice to be executed well through coordination amongst players. Remember, don't drop the barbell in the mirror race.
All right, folks, welcome back. We're getting ready for the next race in this championship match, the thrusters. The men's weight will be 195 pounds, 10 reps at each quadrant. For the women's weight, it'll be 130 pounds, 10 reps at each quadrant.
That's right, Byram, and a lot of times we'll see 2 of the same people doing 2 different quadrants. Usually it's 1 and 4, but they're using human racks, just as the video said, to move from quadrant to quadrant. If that barbell hits the ground, tell them what happens.
They have to start over. Matter of fact, they have to go back to the start line and start over. So effectively, you will lose that race.
That's right. It's very hard to come back from that, so make sure it does not happen.
Stand by. Race! Hang snatches.
And there we go. We're actually doing some hang snatches. It's going to be 175 pounds for the males, 115 pounds for the females.
They're looking great out there. As we told you again, you have to pay attention to that. Oh, almost lost it there with the Atlanta Wild. Their transitions as they move from quadrant to quadrant must be on point. Their technique must be tight and clean, or else they will be starting over. You will drop that barbell. It's not that light.
That's right. And this is a technical movement because it's a hang snatch, so there's a lot that could go into it that goes wrong. You know, you really don't want to mess it up. You got to make sure you lock out. You lock out your hips, you lock out your knees. Basically, you want to look like a statue at the top of that to make sure you get credit. And you want to make sure you don't mess up because you don't want to fatigue yourself either.
Absolutely. They want to make sure that here we go. They're transitioning to the next quadrant. Looks like the Atlanta Wild are looking very good out there. The Sharks are having a little bit of trouble with their transitions. They look to see if they can try to catch up and make up some time there.
Oh, man, the Wild start started first. There's just one rep remaining for the Wild, and the Wild take it again. Oh my goodness. The Sharks are going to finish under the time cap, but what a win from the Wild here.
They've come out the gate strong as we expected. Both teams are very strong as we said before, but we spoke with the Wild before we started this match, and they seemed supremely confident.
Yeah, it was just like we said, you know, it was the, you know, Blake Kidder did 2 of the quadrants. He looks absolutely exhausted, but I'm sure he'll recover in time. But, you know, you really want to send out your strongest players, and if you think that one person could do 2 different quadrants, that's really who you want to send. You got to wear them out, so to speak.
You can't hold back now, Cassie.
That's
this
right.
is for everything right now. You've been working your whole year for this. We've been going through so much for the whole year, from a hurricane, from Vegas. So much has been happening within grid. So right now, if you hold back now, this is not for you.
100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. Let's go ahead and look forward to that next race, the Ringer Point.
The Ringer Point race is the only race in the match that is chosen by the teams. There are 2 Ringer Point races in every match, one picked by each team from a set list of races determined prior to the season. Each Ringer Point race generally features one player, and there is a male and female version of some races depending on the race requirements. The head coach decides whether a male or female will perform the race based on what they feel is the best choice from their roster. There is a catch. A player may only be chosen once for a Ringer Point in a given season. This resets in the playoffs. This short and intense race allows teams to influence their opponent's performance both in-match and season-wide. Remember, choose your race wisely in the Ringer Point race.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others. Join the fight.
Shout out to the U.S. Air Force Special Warfare. Join the fight for sponsoring this next Ringer Point. We're going to be seeing clean and jerks, all right? For the Southwest Florida Sharks, it's going to be Jesse Coleman. And for the men on the Wild, it's going to be Griffin Roelle.
Some of the most spectacular and quickest races on the grid, and the most fun too. So we're going to see these 2 athletes in their element. They're going to be throwing up some heavy weights. So let's lock into the action.
Definitely. We've seen Jesse Coleman season after season crush these strength Ringer Points. I want to say that the one that she did earlier this season was the first one that she ever lost. But this is basically her bag. She's really, really good at these. And Griffin Roelle, he is newer, so we'll just see how he fares against her now.
And if you're at home watching and you're new to grid, you might feel like, oh, there's a man out there and a female, it may be uneven. Absolutely not. This is a speciality type of race right here. Both of these athletes are prepared for this type of ringer race. This is what they do, and they're going to show up and show out.
Well said, Byram. And for those people at home that are wondering if it's even, for the men's weight, it's going to be 300 pounds for these clean and jerks, and for the women's weight, it's going to be 210. So it is adjusted for genders based on biology, and they do a math, kind of like in weightlifting, where you have like a Sinclair score or something of that sort. That's kind of how we adjust season after season. We have people looking after these elements and adjusting as we go through.
Absolutely. So we're about to see them take off here. We see them on the mark. Let's lock in, people. Let's go.
Referees ready. Layer. Ready. Stand by. Race.
All right, Griffin Roelle versus Jesse Coleman. 300 pounds versus 210 pounds. Griffin Roelle, the first one to the bar. 1 rep remaining for Griffin Roelle. Can he do it?
Nice.
And Griffin Roelle is going to finish ahead of Jesse Coleman.
And he takes a bow. How eloquent of him. Very nice. Look, the Atlanta Wild are not playing around out there, Cassie. That's 3 races in a row. They're coming out hot. Listen, those Sharks, they got to make up for lost time. We got to see them shake back. Let's see what happens in the next race.
You know, I'm not going to lie to you. In fact, I'm going to be so vulnerable, and I'm going to tell you I broke 2 of my nails yesterday doing equipment, and it's very embarrassing.
That's
how vulnerable I'm being with you.
Okay.
People were going into this certain that the Sharks were going to win.
Yes, they were.
You know, and I say these two teams are very competitive against each other, and I know that the Wild are trying to shut that down.
Absolutely.
These are my nails for reference.
Yeah, you're right. And like I said, we always try to stay tapped in with the teammates and the coaches. And Tom Soroka, I'm going to keep talking about it, and we're going to speak to him at some point. But he said they match up with any team in the grid. He's been confident since the beginning. I think it's their time, but we're going to see if the Sharks can hold them off from getting this chip.
He did not lie, but let's go ahead and look forward to that next race.
The soil and the environment. And I got a sales
The
alert.
ladder consists of 2 rows of 4 stations of a strength-based element, 1 row for males and 1 row for females. The weight increases as you move down the grid. Teams send out 1 player at a time. The Echo Race, male and female, is made up of 4 stations of elements that each must be completed before moving on in the race. 1 male and 1 female are allowed on the grid at any given time, but only 1 player at a time can perform reps. Substitutions may happen at any time. Once the Echo Race is complete, get ready, because the same race will be repeated 45 seconds later. This race is about managing fatigue with your best players and leveraging roster depth to keep performance at a max pace through the second Echo. Remember, get ready to do it again in the Echo Race.
Peachy athletic shorts, guys. Just saying. Looking peachy.
And the peaches are great. They're really stretchy. They're soft.
I like the fit. I like the fabric. It makes me just feel more comfortable while I'm working out. I don't have to worry about things coming out.
Love training in these shorts. Love competing in the shorts. They stay put. Got a really nice thick waistband.
They definitely pass the squat test and the booty test. They're really comfortable. Like I could wear them out and I could wear them on the floor.
But still feel covered, but able to do all the movements.
Go get yourself some.
The Echo Race is made up of 4 stations of elements that each must be completed before moving on in the race. 1 male and 1 female are allowed on the grid at any given time, but only 1 player at a time.
All right, we are looking forward to this next race. It's going to be the Echoes. It's going to be overhead squats for the men and front squats for the females. It's going to be 155 pounds. It's going to be a total of 30.
We also have, the dumbbell burpee over a 20-inch box. The men's weight would be the 50-pound dumbbell, and the women's weight would be the 35-pound dumbbell. We also have the double touch, that's 30 of those, and we also have 30 125 pounds barbell hang. The men will be doing the hang snatch. The women will be doing the hang clean.
Of course, it's called Echo because it echoes.
Echo, echo.
After they do it once, it's going to happen again after 45 seconds.
Absolutely.
So, going into this one, it looks like the Wild are ahead by 3 points. The unofficial score is going to be 6 for the Wild and 3 for the Southwest Florida Sharks. So, the Sharks have a little bit of a deficit to overcome here. This is the championship match, so it is win or loss. It does not matter how many points you win by, you just have to pull it out.
I feel like this is a pivotal race right here, Cassie. The Sharks cannot go down 4 races in a row losing. We're going to see if they can pull it out here. I'm sure they're focused. Let's go.
That's right. Both these teams are extremely hungry. You can see them on the grid. They look extremely focused. The Sharks especially are looking to overcome and win their first race of the match so far. So I know they feel like they have something to prove here.
You know it, and you know Mama said if you're hungry, you know you got to do. You got to finish your breakfast.
That's right. The Southwest Florida Sharks are currently sitting at 5-0 now for the season. They have 5 straight wins. The Atlanta Wild only have 1 loss for the season. So these are the 2 teams with the best record so far. For this Echo Race, it's going to be 1 person working at a time, 1 male, 1 female on the grid at a time. So we'll see things like waterfalls. We'll see things like taking turns and switching out and making sure that somebody is in the right spot at all times.
It seems like this particular Echo Race is a little bit more complex than the average one to me, Cassie. Is that because we're in the championship round, or is it just me?
It's definitely because we're in the championship. This one is a little bit more of everything. You really want to send out your utility players, but your utility players can't be your average run-of-the-mill. You know, it has to be the best of the best because you only have a certain number of players that can be active at the same time and who can be on the grid at the same time for that matter. So it's just really important that you're able to not only do those overhead squats or those front squats for the females, but do those burpee box jump overs with a 20-inch box, followed by double touches, and you really want to send out people who can do all of those to minimize transition time, basically.
And that's exactly what the Southwest Florida Sharks are. They are a team full of utility players. You got to have some hops. You got to have some good cartilage in your knees, and we're going to see them perform very well out here on this grid. Let's see if they can get this win.
That's right, Byron. Let's see if they can protect their cartilage, too.
You know it. I got to protect mine.
For sure. We're starting off with those 30 overhead squats. For the females, going to be front squats, of course, at 155 pounds.
Stand by. Race!
Of course, all the equipment that you see here on the grid is from Valor Fitness. Shout out to Valor Fitness for always providing everything that we need to fulfill these grid matches.
We are off to a hot start right here. You see them taking their time. Their arms are locked out above their heads so that they can get those reps counted. They want to make sure every rep counts, because if you lose a point here, that's going to put you behind, and you do not want to be behind in this championship match.
That's right. We were looking at Sammy Belot from the Southwest Florida Sharks. He switched out for Kristen Bonito. And for the Wild, it's David McKellar with Fischer waiting in the wings to complete her burpee box jump overs. The Domenico was doing the front squats at first. She was a little bit slower on these, but the two men that they sent out have great depth for being males and also very strong here. Amanda Fischer already on the dumbbell burpee box jump overs. She's stepping over them, looking really strong so far. 35 pounds for the females, 30 pounds for the men. You see how the coach is kind of arranging them. As soon as one person's feet touch the ground, the other person is already going over the box. You see how that happens?
Yes, and their body have to be laying flat, prone on the ground. There can't be no type of space or air underneath. You can see the refs paying close attention. They have to also watch their heads as they go on the other side of the box. You don't want to knock yourself silly out there, so technique is key.
That's right. The Wild are looking like a well-oiled machine over here. The Sharks having a little bit of a miscommunication problem here. Sam Nalley and Nick Shappy, they're actually a couple. They're competing with each other on the Sharks, trying to make up as much time as possible. It looks like they're sending Carrie Billington over, and she's going to get started on those 30 double touches before the Sharks are finished with their boxes.
Yes, and she has a nice style. I like her style up there. She's looking real smooth, making sure she touches those toes so the refs can see. It can't be your ankles, it can't be your shins, as I always say. It has to be clear so there won't be a fault.
That's right. Those were very clean from her. Tristan Meredith taking over, and we have Kristen Palumbo over here. In case you haven't seen, she has a great player profile on our YouTube channel about her being a fighter, but she's also very good at these. You know, these smaller ladies are probably the best at these because they have less distance to travel. But we have David Blatt over there for the Southwest Florida Sharks. He's also one of the best in the league. He used to play for the Aces, but Casey Blow is already getting started on those hang cleans for the Wild. Wild with a very healthy lead over here. Jesse Coleman just waiting to start those hang cleans at 125 pounds.
It has been so impressive how the Atlanta Wild have come out of the gate right now. The Southwest Florida Sharks got some ground to make up for. They're just snatching that weight. Look at them, looking great out there. Man, I'm loving what I'm seeing out there.
That's right. Blake Kidder finishing off the last few snatches, inching closer and closer to the finish line.
Hey!
And he hit that flamingo on the way to that finish line. You saw that?
Yeah, I
like the swag he had with it.
Yeah, man. He almost looked like he was using the Briley Henson technique when he was like backing up. So that was a great move by him. Great job. He was hyping the pregame too. So, man.
Great catch there, Byron. That was totally a Briley thing to do.
Indeed.
But the Southwest Florida Sharks will finish within the time cap and get credit for that race. So far, not a race finish, a race win for the Sharks so far, right? It's still anybody's match. We're playing the full match format today, so there's still plenty of time for them to catch up, but I think they're going to need it soon to boost morale.
Yeah, they have to pick it up now. You know, they're trying to stack points, and we're winning not off a deficit, it's off straight points. So it's tip for tap. The game is the game. Whoever's the best, they're going to come out on top. So you got to put your best foot forward.
That's right. And of course, this is the Echo, so we're going to see it happen again. Not too many chances to change strategy. So we'll see just what these teams decide to do here. Let's see if the Sharks are able to overcome and maybe do a little bit better than they did before. Maybe clean up whatever they had strategy-wise.
And we're right back in the bucket. Once again, you see them jumping right back out, trying to be as clean as possible. I think they're using the same techniques as you said yesterday, Cassie. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's see if they can get past these two quadrants.
That's right, DiDomenico finishing off, passing it to David McKellar, and Kristen Bonito finishing off for the Southwest Florida Sharks. Derek Anderson waiting to take over. Derek Anderson is, of course, one of the original members of Grid. As we know it today, he's been playing for the Sharks since they started. David McKellar, a newer rookie player, but doing absolutely amazing here. But the Sharks are looking pretty fast. It looks like they're about to finish. Derek Anderson finishing off the last few, but Amanda Fischer has finished, and she is on to the next element with Matt Cable here. Glad to see Matt Cable back on the grid. You know,
yes.
He's a very seriously skilled player. Oh no, the little fault because he needed to come back and tag in Derek Anderson, so any reps completed did not count since he was an illegal player on the grid. Sharks are a little bit behind, just like last time. Let's see if they could overcome this time.
And that's what we were talking about, Cassie. Little things like technique, knowing the rules of the game, not forgetting, because of course they know the rules, but when you're hot and heavy out there and you're in that fire, sometimes you can have what you might call a little brain fart. So you got to stay locked in, and so you can get on to the next quadrant. And here we go with the Wild going on to the ring.
That's right, Wild with that last rep, and here's Vilma Rosario coming in to hit those double touches. It looks like they picked a new gymnastics specialist this time. The Southwest Florida Sharks finishing off their last few reps, but it looks like it's about the same with the Wild in that healthy lead.
Now, it's all about leveraging depth. The good thing about these two teams, the Atlanta Wild and the Florida Sharks, they have extreme depth. They got players that they can interchange in and out, so I'm looking for them to transform accordingly, and let's see if they can finish strong.
That's right, Chelsea Rainieri moving on to the double touches, one of the best gymnasts in the league. She used to play college gymnastics, but now she is here. She is a grid athlete and an educator, really amazing athlete on the grid. But it looks like the Wild are already moving on to that barbell. We're welcoming in Sidney Wilson for these, looking absolutely clean on those. She is an absolute unit for this.
Yeah, Sidney's so cool. Sometimes we have a chance to chat from here and there, and she's so nice, man, but when it comes to this grid, she is a beast, and she is not playing around at all. Very serious.
That's right. David Blatt just finished up those double touches, and that's going to bring in Breezy Lane. She's going to go as quickly as possible to see if they could finish or try to catch up to the Wild at all, but just look at the speed on her. It's about taken from them. Blake Kidder finishing off that second Echo. Clean win for the Wild on all of these races so far. Breezy Lane's doing a great job. She did all of these. Hand up in the air for her. She did 30 hang cleans at 125 pounds all by herself trying to make up time. And honestly, they did better than they did the last time. And that's all you can hope to do.
You're right. The Atlanta Wild are on a mission. You can see it in their eyes. They're walking with their chest out. They are confident. Looks like a little bit of the air is taken out of the balloon of the Southwest Sharks. Let's see if they can get back up and bring it back on. Turn that wick on. Bring that fire.
Oh yeah, they're definitely going to need it soon. Let's go ahead and look forward to that next race.
The ladder consists of 2 rows of 4 stations of a strength-based element, 1 row for males and 1 row for females. The weight increases as you move down the grid. Teams send out 1 player at a time, alternating male and female, to perform the designated lift for the match format. Each successful lift has a point value that is added to the team's ladder score. The point value is equal to the quadrant the barbell is sitting in. Players are allowed 1 lift attempt per quadrant and may skip any quadrant they choose, but are never allowed to backtrack once a barbell is passed. The team with the highest total point value at the end of the 4-minute time cap wins. This race is one of the most strategic and coach-reliant of all of the races. As a good game plan and in-the-moment decision-making, to manage time is everything. Remember, lift heavier and score higher in the ladder race.
My goal to recruit this year was not to get rookies, was to get people with experience to come into our team and make us better. So me as a new head coach coming in, my goal is to come for the championship. So getting this key ingredient, we just need a few more pieces to come into our team and probably take us to the next level. So when I saw a good athlete, I just kind of, hey, reach out. I'm a fan of the sport before I was anything else. I hate when I see good players just kind of losing enthusiasm for grid. Usually it's not because they don't like the sport. So I waited obviously after the deadline to re-sign was, and then I saw who was not re-signed. And I was like, oh, this is an extremely good player. Hey, let me shoot a message. Each player was a little bit different. The first one was Sidney Witter. She used to play for the Tampa Bay Brigade. She's extreme athletic person. She's actually training for an Ironman, so just think about the versatility of that. She might be an Ironman finisher, plus a grit player. That's kind of unreal, so extreme.
I've never felt more as a team than I have with this group of people. We come together, we're like a big happy family. No one's out, everyone's just in it to win it.
Good athletes, she can pretty much do everything on grid. We have Kristen Crenshaw, that she came from the Venom. Really good athlete, but her main strategic advantage is she's actually on the shorter side, very good on her hands and squatting, so she can do thrusts very fast. She might be the best handstand pushers in the league. Jessie Coleman, a specimen.
Fins up, baby! I am now a shark. They scoop me right in, and I love it. I'm excited.
She's super strong, but also with her gymnastics background can do a lot of things.
In the black, Coleman in the green, Coleman, Simpson to the bar at the same time. And the Sharks leading with one cleaner jerk, crossing into the finish line. Coleman taking it from Simpson.
And we are back. We're getting ready for the ladder. We can expect a thruster ladder. Of course, everything getting heavier and heavier as we go down the grid, and whatever quadrant you're in denotes how many points you get. So if you're in quadrant 1, you will get 1 point. If you're in quadrant 4, you will get 4 points, and it just gets heavier and heavier.
I think this is one of my most favorite races in the match right here. We want to go over the actual factuals of the ladder so you guys at home can know what we're dealing with here. With the women's weight, it'll be 130 pounds, 145 pounds, 160, and 175 pounds at the final quadrant. For the men's, it'll be 205, 225, 245, and 265 at quadrant 4. So it's going to be a lot of clanging and banging, as I like to say. We're going to have some fun. The strength specialists are going to be at play.
That's right, and of course this is a thruster ladder. Now, important to note, we just saw these two teams play in the playoff. They were different by 2 points here, right? So there was only a 2-point difference. The Wild finished with 96, which is the highest score of the season, and the Sharks finished with 94. So they're pretty closely matched with strength, and we're gonna see how they fare against each other in this particular match format. Here is Amanda Fischer for the Wild, and that is Breezy Lanes for the Sharks. Now, remember, it's not just about how strong you are, but how fast you could get through this ladder, right, Byram?
Absolutely. You got 2-minute cap on here, so you got to make sure that you get as many points as you can within this 2 minutes. You have some options here. You can go from quadrant to quadrant, or you can just jump down to quadrant 3 and 4. Depends on what you know you can do, what you need to bring for your team, whatever your strategy is. Let's see how they continue to perform out here.
That's right, and of course we do have that unofficial live scoring at the bottom. It is in beta testing, so we don't know for sure if it's correct or not until the end of the match. And of course, all of the equipment that you see here today is from Valor Fitness, and you can use that discount code, QR code, at the bottom of your screen to get some money off. Now is the time to do it. Valor Fitness is waiting for you. It looks like the Wild are actually going a little bit faster than the Sharks here. A faster start from them, from Amanda Fischer. She was a little bit smaller than Breezy Lane, so she was able to just get everything faster and extend faster as well. Here's Sidney Wilson, very strong overhead there after getting it to the bottom of the clean. Here's Jessie Coleman for the Sharks on that 3rd quadrant. She's finishing off. She's going towards that 4th bar. Can she do it? And she does, very easily. Here's Blake Kidder of the Wild. He has one of the fastest consistent ladder times of the season. Always fun to watch him go down the grid. And Derek Anderson, of course, from the Southwest Florida Sharks, seriously skilled as well. I like the green hat that he always wears in the grid.
Oh yeah, very stylish. I like that. One thing about it, folks, that all of our fitness enthusiasts, you think you're a beast, you think you're strong, add some of this to your repertoire, and let's see what's going on afterwards. This is no joke. This ain't nothing easy. They just make it look easy.
That's right. We did see Casey Blow play last season with the Daytona Beach Venom, but she is back with the Wild after taking a season off from them, and that was a good ladder clear from her. She's been getting just stronger and stronger. She did fall at the end of it, but she's getting back up and she's fine. Here's Matt Cable coming down. He used to play for the Tampa Bay Brigade, and actually on the other side, Sidney Witter used to also play for the Tampa Bay Brigade, but is now playing for the Southwest Florida Sharks. This is their first season with these teams, respectively, and they've just been having a showing season.
Now, this is one of the few races in these matches where you will see these athletes kind of take their time, make sure they have the proper lifting technique, make sure they have the proper technique that the rest refs want to see, because this is a very important race. You don't see anything like this on the grid. Straight strength, getting it up, nice. And that's what we want to see out here on the grid.
Graham with the hard clean, and that is a good lift for him. Vilma Rosario going towards that fourth bar. Very beautiful clean. Oh, and misses it on the press. Just couldn't get the momentum up from it. Sam Nalley coming down the grid. Each team is still planning on going through every single bar. It looks like the Southwest Florida Sharks were actually able to get this one back a little bit here. Tristan Meredith coming out for the Wild. Sam Nalley hitting that fourth bar. Can she get it up? Oh, and that's a good one from Sam Nalley. Oh, the Southwest Florida Sharks unofficially have a pretty good lead here. We won't know until the very end and the score is tabulated. Nick Shappy, Sam Nalley's counterpart on the grid now. They used to play for the Wild, so I know that this championship game means a lot to them.
I'm just looking out here on the grid. I'm seeing these men out here doing amazing things, but what I always like to lock into is the ladies. If you have any reservation, if you can do it too, you can. You have examples out here. Lock in with these ladies. Look at what they're doing out here. It's an amazing thing.
That's right. There is only about 15 seconds remaining. Each team needs as many points as possible. Chelsea Rainieri finishing the third bar. David McKellar finishing the third bar. Less than 10 seconds. Can David McKellar finish that fourth? And that is a good one from him. David Blatt just failed on that second bar, and we are finished for that time cap. Woo! We will see in just a second when we get that unofficial score in, but it looks like the Wild did unofficially take it. I can't wait to see what the score was exactly. It did take a second for it to finish, and it was touch and go there for a second. It was the Sharks, then it was the Wild ahead, then it was the Sharks, then it was the Wild. So it was definitely, from a entertainment perspective, very jarring. But we're gonna go ahead and take it to my friend Byram Allen on the grid with Tom Soroka.
All right, folks, we're here with Tom Soroka, leader and captain of the Atlanta Wild. It's chip season. We are here. It's the end game. How you feeling, baby?
First off, there are no leaders on this team. We're all the same here. This thing is, we're feeling really good. Motto for the season has been ABC, Adversity Breeds Championships. And we've been hit with a bunch of stuff early on in the earlier races and early part of the season. But right now, our foot is on the gas pedal. We have no intentions of letting up anytime soon.
I was just about to say, you seem intense right now. The team came out the game hot. I like how they came out. You said y'all were ready to do it. Y'all can match up with any team out here. How you feeling about your progress so far?
I mean, honestly, this is going exactly the way we envisioned it going. We are the strongest team in the league this year, and I think we're showing it today with any of these barbells that we are handling them with these. So we're really excited about how things are going so far.
One thing I always ask Tom, I know it's a simple question. Why come back to Grid League? Why do you come back every year? It's a great opportunity. Tell me.
I mean, did you not see my reaction after the ringer in the last match? That's exactly why. Those moments with your teammates, nothing can compare to it. That's why.
Tom, a.k.a. The Mountain. I think it, dude. We'll be right back.
Element really helps me keep the intensity going.
And we are back. We're getting ready for another ringer point race. We're waiting for just a second for those ladder scores to come in. But in the meantime, this next ringer is going to be deck to pistol over a 6-inch pole. And they're going to finish off with 2 clusters. All right, for the Atlanta Wild, it's going to be Tristan Meredith. And for the Southwest Florida Sharks, it's going to be Nick Shappy. Of course, Nick Shappy, formerly of the Wild. This is his second season with the Sharks, showing that he is an MVP caliber player. You know, him and Sam Nalley, they totally changed the game when they went to the Sharks. The Sharks have gotten a lot of new players, a lot of new leadership in Fico Gomez and in Concepcion. So a lot of changes happening with the Sharks, and it looks like it's for the better.
Listen, this is the most exciting race of the match, like we always say. These are specialized races. I'm interested to see what's going to go on out there. I see Matt. Is that Matt out there setting up? Oh, that is not Matt. I'm sorry about that. I was getting a little excited. But let's lock into this ringer race and see how they perform out there today.
That's right, and we just got the ladder results. It looks like it was 87-79, and guess who won? The Atlanta Wild.
ATL, shawty.
Just like Tom Soroka was saying, he was sure that his team was going to win it. That looks like what is is that now? 6 consecutive wins for the Atlanta Wild. Still not a race win for the Southwest Florida Sharks. It's still anybody's. You know, the current score sits at 12-6. Now, I have to say I am surprised.
I am a little bit too.
You know, this is an undefeated team for the season. I know this is causing quite a bit of upset, and we'll see in just a second if they're able to maybe come back from this during this ringer point. You know, Nick Shappy is of course one of these best players in the league, one of the best utility players, and of course he's going against Tristan Meredith, who is a rookie. We haven't seen him done too many ringer points, but he's good under pressure and he's good where they need him to be.
Well, I got to tell you, Cassie, everybody was shocked when George Foreman lost to Ali. We have something similar going on out here. Not necessarily the rumble in the jungle, but it might be the thrill in Manila.
Byram, you know, sometimes when you make those references, I'm too young, because for me, George Foreman is a grill, okay? So, you know, maybe we could take it back to, the Celtics versus the Heat or something like that. Then you're talking more my language.
Who did LeBron play last? I don't remember. Somebody, man. But all right,
we don't talk about the league.
All right, my bad. Back to live action. We are Grid League right now.
Yeah, that's right. Let's go ahead and take it to the 4th camera. We're going to take a look at these game faces happening over here. Over there on the Southwest Florida Sharks, it looks like they're in some kind of heated discussion about something about the standards. It looks like they're hyped up. I think they really need this next one for morale.
Oh, definitely. If not for morale, just to get some more points on the board.
That's
I'm
right.
looking at that 12-6. That's almost a touchdown lead, you know. And oftentimes in the 4th quarter, it's hard to overcome that. So it's getting down to the 4th quarter. We're about halfway through the match so far. They need this win.
That's right.
They need it.
Yeah, this is definitely a tough one. I'm not sure it's going the way anyone envisioned it, except for the Wild, of course. You know, I think people were expecting a little bit more of a closer match, but I'm sure the tide will change at any second now.
I think also that the Southwest Sharks, they came out this morning with such incredible energy. You know, they were a little bit choppy on some of their movements and coming out the gate. Maybe they need to pull it together and see what they can do to try to finish strong as possible and build on next season.
It looks like we have a little bit of a roster change that we weren't expecting. Instead of Nick Shappy, it looks like we're sending in Luis Guillermo Nunez for the Sharks. Not necessarily sure what's going on with Shappy, but Nunez looks ready to rock. He's doing some little dance moves over there on the start line. It wasn't part of the plan here on my sheet. I have Shappy written down for it, but something must have happened. Maybe it was that fall that he had earlier during the warm-up.
Yes.
Not necessarily sure, but the sizes are a lot different now. Nunez is a big dude, and this is a little bit more of a utility move since it's 6 deck pistols over 6-inch poles and 2 clusters at 250 pounds. Oh, I just got word that Shappy was a little bit fatigued from what just happened, so
there we go.
That's why they're sending in Nunez. So glad we got clarification on that. Thank you to the team. Tristan Meredith versus Luis Guillermo Nunez. Who will take it? Current score 12-6.
Ready, stand by.
They're starting off with 6 deck to pistols over a 6-inch pole, and of course, if you hit that pole, it will not count. So you have to make sure that you do not do that. Guillermo Nunez is a big dude, a lot of control having to be done. It looks like he's relying on his right leg solely. 1 rep remaining for Tristan Meredith. It looks like Nunez had a little fault there. He had to do an extra rep. Tristan Meredith, the first one to the bar. Nunez for the sprint. Meredith just completed one more to go. And
Easy
it
money.
looks like Tristan Meredith is going to take that ringer point race. Not bad for Nunez, who just found out he was going to do it.
When you are ready, when you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. He was prepared. He showed up and showed out. Listen, you see how excited the Atlanta Wild team are. They are so focused and locked in right now. I don't know.
Look at David McKellar's face. I don't know if you got a chance to see that, but it was absolutely dumbfounded. I'm glad that he was able to show up for his team that way. What a great rookie. What a great showing from both of these teams. And we're going to find out if they're able to come back in just a second. All right, let's go ahead and look forward to that next race.
Jack and Jill features 3 stations of high-level bodyweight-based elements that increase in difficulty moving down the grid. 1 male and 1 female are allowed on the grid at any given time, and only 1 player can be working at a time. The team can only move on to the next station when the previous station is complete. This race is the simplest when it comes to rules, but the most reliant on player skill and speed, as the hyper specialists often make the difference in the race. Remember, let the bodyweight ninjas fly in the Jack and Jill race.
You're more energized, you're more relaxed, you're more ready to hit a hard workout. For me, recovery happens at night when you cleanse your body and you get ready for bed and you get ready for the next day. So it helps me get into that state of calmness. So I feel less fatigued, I feel relaxed, I feel less inflammation when I wake up in the morning. So your recovery's here, but then you take early bird and your recovery goes to here. So it just elevates the recovery. It helps you then perform better the next day. So you need it. It's almost a necessity. It's part of my routine. It's part of my nightly routine. It helps people. It really helps people. Early bird all the way.
Watching grid in person is a totally different experience. We get the comment all the time that it's the best sporting experience they've ever been to. So a lot of different people come to watch grid and a lot of people enjoy grid. I've used a lot of different types of ticketing platforms. People who come to our website to purchase tickets don't have to use a different link. They aren't taken off of our website. It all feels very seamless, and we hardly ever have lines because it's just a quick pull the ticket up on your phone. Our staff can scan it. It saves all the data that we need, and it's a really quick and easy check-in process, which was really, really important to us. We've been using Ticket Tailor for at least 5 years, and I don't think we're ever going to switch.
All right, folks, welcome back. We are getting prepared for the Jack and Jill race part of this match. This is the body weight edition. We have the bar muscle ups. We have 30 reps of those that we need, 20 reps of the ring muscle ups, and 5 backwards roll to support. And also, folks, just to let you know, breaking news, we have a bonus flag coming from the Southwest Florida Sharks. They got to go get it now, Cassie. This is it. They got to let it all hang out. There's no time to waste. This is the moment. Let's see if they can pull it out this time.
Oh, for sure. And I have to say, I think that's the right time to throw it for the Sharks. I think they have maybe just a little bit more depth when it comes to the bodyweight movements. The Wild are, of course, a very skilled, very strong team, but maybe the Sharks are able to pull it out here. You know, this is not the showing that the Sharks wanted. You know, these are two very strong teams, and I think people are just surprised at the fact that the Sharks aren't doing as well as they have been all season. Not to discredit the Wild at all, of course.
Yes, sometimes, like I said, the game is the game. Sometimes the other team is better than you on a certain day. Doesn't mean that they're better than you overall. Some days it's just not your day, but on this particular race, they must have it. The Sharks have to get this one, and this is for me. I'm a body weight specialist myself. I love calisthenics. That's the realm that I'm from, so I'm going to be looking at the different techniques that they use, their hand placements, the rings versus the bar, things of that nature. So let's enjoy, let's lock in.
That's right, and these two teams are very good. It's been a dominant showing from the Atlanta Wild so far, just like Tom Soroka said it would be. All of them look absolutely hyped up. They're having team meetings, they're talking to their coaches. You're looking at the intensity just on the grid and how everything is playing out. And we're about 1 minute from finding out if the Sharks are able to take it and take that bonus flag. Unofficially, that score is sitting at 14 for the Wild, 7 for the Sharks.
And my whole mentality, I'm sure it's the same with the Sharks. You got to build on next year as well. Doesn't matter. Perhaps we're losing today, and I'm disappointed. It's the championship. I get that. But for me, as an athlete, I want to finish as strong as I can just so I can keep building my foundation, because it's not over. 2025 is going to be even bigger.
That's right, and this match itself isn't over. It's still anybody's. And don't forget, the Wild don't have anybody to do backwards rolls. So the Sharks are going to be playing for points. So it looks like the Wild don't have anybody that can do the backward rolls at all. So interesting to see how this is going to play out, especially for the Sharks, and they're able to pull it off. It looks like the Sharks were able to exploit the Wild's weakness here and knew what was coming.
Let's lock in. Let's see.
Stand by.
All right, so it looks like the Wild are going to be standing still and are going to give up any kind of points that they may get. So the Sharks are just playing to get the points here. So we're just watching them chill out on the bars. This is their jam. David Black, Sam Nalley, they're doing gymnastics. We're watching it happen. Oh yeah, let's pretend there's other players on the grid here. I would jump in myself if I could, but I can't even hold on to the gymnastics bar correctly. These people are seriously skilled. I could never keep up with them, even if I, sold myself to do it.
Yeah, it's you versus you right now, You got to be your best enemy or your best friend. You got to see how well you can get over those bars, and they're just going to keep, performing out there. They just got to get this. I think they're going to get this point. We know they're going to get this point, so.
That was that last bar muscle up. We're going to bring in Quentin Ambrosio, and he is doing those ring muscle ups here. There's going to be 20 total. Let's see if he could go unbroken. Why not?
Interesting. I love to see that.
Yeah, why not?
20 muscle ups unbroken is tough enough if you're doing them just like they did in the old school, but doing them on the rings, incredible.
That's right. There's about 8 remaining, 7 remaining. Let's see if he could just do it. I mean, he has the time. Male triad is until later. There's 5 more reps. Oh, that was 15 unbroken.
Still good. Great.
Very good. That's right. Chelsea Rainieri is actually going to take over. There's 4 remaining. It looks like David Blatt is going to be coming in, and he's getting ready to do those backward rolls to support. That is the skill that the Wild were unable to do, but it looks like the Wild just feel comfortable enough. They had so many points going into this that they felt like they could just give it up here. They didn't have anybody that can do it on the roster.
Yeah, they were comparing themselves to offensive linemen before, like we said earlier in the match. I never really seen too many offensive linemen doing ring muscle-ups, so it's understandable that they took a little break here so they could charge up for the next race.
That's right. Good that they threw the bonus flag here because it looks like they won it against the Fort Lauderdale Ghosts, I guess we could call them here.
There we go.
The Broward County Convention Center Ghosts.
There you go.
So it looks like the Southwest Florida Sharks are able to get a race win there finally, boost morale a little bit, get some points off the ground, but we're looking forward to that next race, of course, and let's see what we can look forward to.
The triad is the only race in which there is a male and a female version performed separately. It consists of 5 elements, each with 3 stations that must be completed individually. 3 players can be on the grid at any given time. All players can perform at any station and in any order. But all of the designated reps must be performed at each station. All 3 stations of each element must be complete before the team can move on to the next element. The triad is all about player conditioning and managing fatigue across the team. The best strategy ensures players have enough left in the tank for the last element and has backup plans for when things inevitably go wrong. Remember, try to catch your breath in the triad race.
Take care of my finances? I got plenty of time for that.
I didn't have plenty of time.
Procrastinating on your finances has a way of stacking up. A membership with Facet is a quick and easy first step to get your finances in order.
I'll get to that tomorrow.
Now is the time to take action. Go to Facet.com to get started on your financial wellness journey today.
All right, welcome back, folks. We are getting ready for the women's triad. So let's go over some of the information that we have for the triad. We're going to start with the 15 kettlebell snatches at 53 pounds. We have 5 pullovers. We have 15 wall balls at 14 pounds at the 10-inch deficit. We also have the 5 freestanding handstand push-ups, and we have 15 hang squat cleans at 100 pounds.
That's right. We don't have the graphic verb for it, but we're able to call it as we see it. That 10-foot target is definitely going to get some people people when we get to that wall ball, but
I
we're
said 10 inches, 10 feet. Sorry about that.
No, you're all good. So we're going to see the score right now is 14 for the Atlanta Wild and 10 for the Sharks. So the Sharks were able to make up some ground there. It's all right. There's only a 4-point deficit now. Still anybody's match. There's 3 races to go until we finish, and we're starting off with that female triad. So we're going to see how the females fare against each other, team for team. All right. So once again, it's not about how many players complete something. It's about the stations, right? So if there's a kettlebell on the floor, that kettlebell has to have 15 reps completed on it. Doesn't matter if they do it on a different one, it will not count until they do it on that dumbbell, because that's where the referee will count.
Absolutely, and it looks like the Sharks, they're still in the park. It's
That's
not
right.
over yet. That bonus flag in the last race was pivotal. Very strategic of them to do that. They seem to have good team morale still. We saw them in the huddle getting ready for this particular race. So let's see if they can show up and show out.
That's right. We're about to see what will happen against female versus female. Let's go ahead and take a look at the grid so we can see those tensions running right now.
Now, one thing that I'm interested in seeing is fatigue is fatigue going to be a factor for the Southwest Florida Sharks? They already had one player that had to step away really quickly and get replaced because he was tired. So let's see if we can go ahead and continue.
Yeah, I'm sure he did that because he is a pivotal person going into that male triad, Nick Shappy. So hopefully he gets over that fatigue and is able to come out stronger for that one as well.
We want to shout out to Olipop as well. You see those amazing jerseys out there and those amazing uniforms looking real pretty. I love that. The official sponsor of Grid have an amazing beverage as well. So if you're interested, tap in and enjoy.
That's right, and of course those peachy athletic shorts that go with those great Olipop jerseys. All the bottoms that you see on the grid here today are from Peachy Athletics. We're getting ready for that female triad. Let's see who is able to do it. Oh, it looks like the Wild had an injury for the player for whoever was going to do those backward rolls. So we'll hear more as we're updated. All right, female versus female, Southwest Florida Sharks versus the Atlanta Wild. We're looking at Casey Blow, Sidney Wilson, and Amanda Fischer for the Wild. For the Sharks, it's Jessie Coleman, Sydney Witter, and Jenna Riddle. All right, we haven't seen Jenna Riddle too much this season. She lives a bit further than the rest of the team, but we'll find out in just a second how these ladies fare against each other. Both teams with some serious skill sets. Wild having a dominant showing so far, despite that hiccup in the previous race.
It's just amazing to see the ladies put in work out there. They got the strength out there. They got the body weight specialists out there. They're looking like synchronized swimmers at certain points. It's just amazing to see. Look at them go.
That's right. It looks like the Sharks were the first ones off for that movement, the backward roll to support, and now they're starting those wall balls just ahead. This is exactly the kind of knee that the Sharks needed to come back from this, and the Wild are trying to fix those communication problems that they're having right now. Casey Blow coming in for the Wild to do those wall balls. Amanda Fischer, Sydney Wilson for the Sharks. That's Jenna Riddle, that's Sam Nalley, and Sydney Witter. All right, we got the tale of two Sydneys out here.
Absolutely. And if you're thinking, like I always say, we always try to shout out to fitness enthusiasts that are watching these type of games like this. You look at this workout right here, it looks very simple, but if you're throwing 14 pounds from that deep squat like that, that is something else. That is a true workout. See if you can do it at home.
Great point, Byram. We're looking at those freestanding handstand push-ups. That was a fault for Sam Nalley. It looks like her ankles weren't fully over her shoulders, which is one of the standards here for this movement. You have to make sure that you're totally extended and your body's in a straight line. Carrie Billington waiting to take over for Sydney Wilson, and they're really trying to make up some ground here as the Sharks are already on that barbell movement. We're looking at 15 hang squat cleans at 100 pounds. The Wild finally moving on for a Carrie Billington, switching out Casey Blow, Amanda Fischer. Can they make up some time? She was facing the wrong way. You have to be facing outside of the grid. Here's that overview. Hands up for the Sharks. Oh, this match just got a whole lot closer, Byram.
Let's see if they can pull it out. They look a little bit fatigued, the Wild do. Let's see if they still have it in them to finish it. And no, they do not. It's the Sharks.
And that is a true race win for the Sharks here. The Wild just finishing up their last few reps. They know they have some time before the time cap closes them out.
I don't know about you, Cassie, but I think I see a small chink in the armor of the Wild. The ladies. Hey, ladies, let's see if there's a true matchup there. There may be a little bit of an advantage for the Southwest Florida Sharks that they can take advantage of.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit of a communication issue early on during this female triad, maybe a little bit switching out, a little bit of on the fly we saw happen instead of the usual calm, cool, collected transitions that they usually make, that we see a lot from the Sharks as well. But very interesting to see. The Wild will finish under the time cap, so they will get that 1 point of credit for completing within it. And we'll find out in just a second what that updated score is. But I know that the Sharks are happy for morale to kind of boost that up. We're about to see male versus male in just a minute. In the meantime, we're going over to my friend Byram Allen on the grid. He is actually with Derek Anderson, one of the original members of the Southwest Florida Shark. Let's go ahead and take it over to him.
All right, folks, we're here with Derek Anderson, one of the veterans of Grid League. You've been here since the very beginning of Grid League. Talk to us about the progression, the evolution of this sport.
You know, when we started, it was very basic, very elementary, just kind of bringing back the sport. And over the years, the competition's gotten better, we've gotten better, and just the opportunities, the team environment, the staff, everything's kind of come together as a real sport. And it's just amazing to see over the past 7 or 8 years of doing this, just seeing how everything's growing and the opportunities are getting better every year.
Now, I love that. Now, you guys are a little bit behind the 8 ball, not too far. This is for points. The Atlanta Wild came out hot. How do you guys keep up the intensity?
Hey, you know, that's Grid. Every year, we've always been just behind, always been just short of getting to that final championship match. This year is big for us. We've done everything that we can to make up the opportunities to get here. We worked hard. We work as a team. Every year, we're getting better. And I think right now, the intensity is really hot. Our team is really getting after it, and I think we can come out with a win.
The number one question I always ask, why do you keep coming back? You've been here since the beginning longer than most. Why keep coming back to Grid League?
You know, that's a great question. Every year, it's one of those things where I start thinking, I have a family, I have a young boy over in the crowd watching me, and I think that's the kind of thing that drives me. Having a young son and a wife, being able to see me at this stage in life, being able to compete and do things that I love to do, and also be around awesome people. Every year we have a great community, every year we have a great team and we get along, and it's just an amazing environment, an amazing community, and I think that's what brings me back every year.
Derek, I appreciate you. Keep up the good work, dude. All right. We'll be right back, folks.
So I got the invitation to come out and try the soft wave therapy. And I've done a couple different, and it's been very successful so far. I've never had any physical therapy that I've gone to where you can almost immediately notice some effects of it. Normally it's, you know, multiple weeks or months of going and getting your treatment before you start to feel any relief in those problem areas. With even just the couple of sessions I've done with soft wave, it's not, you can feel it immediately. It's not a night and day difference, but you can start to tell you're taking steps in the right directions towards recovery.
And we are back. We're getting ready for this male triad.
All right, we're getting ready for the male triad, as you just said, Cassie. The kettlebell snatches are going to be 15 reps at 70 pounds, pullovers 6 reps at quadrant 2. We have 15 reps of the wall balls at 10 feet. The men's weight will be a 30-pound ball. We have the freestanding handstand push-ups, 3 of those. 15 reps of the hang squat cleans at 155 pounds.
So it's basically everything that the females just did, but a little bit heavier and a little bit more. So we'll be able to see how the men fare against each other. It looks like the ladies Sharks were able to overcome the deficit and close it just a bit. It stands at 3 now, 15 for the Atlanta Wild, 12 for the Southwest Florida Sharks. We're about to see if they can come back from this. It's still anybody's race. All right, and the men are off. David McKellar, Blake Kidder, Tristan Meredith for the Atlanta Wild. For the Sharks, that's Nick Shappy, Chalking Graham, and Roderick Holloway. All the strong dudes are on the grid right now. 70 jokes over your head like that for so many reps is no joke. And of course, remember, they have to finish all of the reps on a certain element, not on a station, not by a certain player, excuse me.
I'm almost appalled at how easy they made that look, Cassie. That is just ridiculous, throwing that 70 pounds up like that.
That's right. Looks like David Blatt started those pullovers just a bit too soon, and the Wild have a slight lead here against the Sharks. Let's see if the Sharks are able to overcome it a bit.
This is the body weight specialist. Like I always say, I'm from the realm of calisthenics, so I'm always paying attention to their hand grips and the quality of them getting over that bar. And right now we're on to the medicine balls. They're throwing those wall balls up. That's 30 pounds going up 10 feet. Looks easy. It's not, because they have to deal with that squat all the way down in that bucket, lock out, and put that ball up on that Valor plate.
Oh no, some poor communication on the Shark side. They were not finished with those pullovers. Luis Guillermo Nunez was doing those wall balls for nothing. Oh man, they are not happy over there on the Southwest Florida Sharks. This is possibly the end of the match for them. The Wild are already on those freestanding handstand push-ups. We'll get some clarification on what just happened for a second, but they really thought that they were finished with those pullovers. Roderick Holloway had to step in, and Luis Guillermo was already tiring himself out on those wall balls. He was basically halfway done.
Now, I always love seeing those freestanding handstand push-ups. Everybody has their different style. Everyone is unique. I love how the Atlanta Wild got through that rather easily for big men, and right now they're all the way down to the hang squat cleans.
That's right. They're looking really strong at these hang squat cleans. It's only 15, and they have a healthy lead. They had just started on those freestanding handstand push-ups. All those big dudes are upside down right now, finishing them off, and they're starting those hang squat cleans. Hands up in the air for the Wild already. Dare I say, it's too far to come back from already.
It seems like the Atlanta Wild, dude for dude, they might have a little bit of an edge. We'll see if the Sharks can pull it out, though. They're not out of the woods yet, but it's getting quite dark.
You can see the celebration from the Wild with this kind of lead on the Southwest Florida Sharks. It looks like the Wild have taken the championship match.
Wow, is that the case? Really? Talk to me.
So there's a deficit of 3 points right now between the Southwest Florida Sharks. The Atlanta Wild just won, giving them 2 points. That's 17. The Southwest Florida Sharks are about to finish the race, which is 13.
Okay.
That's a 3-point difference once again.
Got it.
So 3 points is what you get in the sprint relay. So basically, the Wild would have to not finish sprint relay for the Sharks to be even with them.
We had a similar occurrence of this earlier today, did we not?
We sure did. So it looks like the Sharks don't even have a bonus flag to throw at this point. There might be a review from the referees, but we'll find out in just a second, and we'll give you the facts when we come back.
The sprint relay is the final race of every match and is worth an extra point for the race win. It is a relay race with one player allowed on the grid at a time and 8 elements to perform. Any player can perform on any element, and substitutions can happen at any time, except when a player performs the last rep of an element. In that case, the player must run back to the start line, perform a 4-point touch behind the start line, and sprint through to the finish line, permanently leaving the race. The next player may enter once the previous one has crossed the finish line. The only exception is the distance element that ends at the finish line with no sprint back required. The catch is, 4 men and 4 women must finish the 8 elements. The sprint relay is a great balance of strategy to decide which players in what order are the best combination, along with clean and well-executed elements by the players, to lead to the best race outcome for the team. Remember, 4 men and 4 women must finish the 8 elements in the sprint relay.
Unlike American football or baseball, where positions are very clearly defined with rules specific to them, grid league positions are more general. Think of it as a spectrum with a 4-foot gymnast on one end and a 400-pound strongman on the other, with every possible size, shape, and skill set focus filling in the middle. Roles on the grid have a lot of crossover from position to position, and there are many possible combinations that will yield a great team. Grid league has 3 primary player positions or roles on the team. You Utility players generally have a wide range of abilities and end up with a diverse set of assignments on the grid. Utility players, although often assigned more total work than specialists, will still focus on their best movements as their means to contribute to the team. The strength specialist role often involves heavier assignments and, depending on the player's background, may be even more focused to individual types of strength movement, such as Olympic weightlifting or strongmen. Most of the super high-skill movements like backward roll to support in deficit, freestanding handstand push-ups are performed by bodyweight specialists. That said, there are several bodyweight specialists that mainly focus on more basic movements, but for big sets and fast cycle rates. Many are gymnasts as well, but even some of the best do not have gymnastics backgrounds, such as former MVP Paul Lays. Learn more about the sport of grid lead at fgl.com/learn.
Alrighty, friends, so let's get a little bit of clarification on what just happened. It looks like a member of the Southwest Florida Sharks got injured doing those those pullovers, so came off the grid, but it was a referee mistake because they did not put their hand up, signaling that there were reps remaining for that element. And as a result, that's why we saw Nunez start those wall balls. That's why everybody was confused and caused a lot of miscommunication on the Sharks. So they're going to see if it would have definitively affected the outcome of the race based on what is happening, and we'll find out in just a second whether or not we are going to rerun it, because of course we're all about the spirit of fairness and sports. So if it would have affected the outcome of the race and it was a referee error instead of, you know, something that the team could have prevented, then that's when we would rerun it.
Yes, indeed. And Math Wiseman, he's always been good about having the eagle eye about these things, making sure, like you said, everything is fair. It is a bit of gamesmanship, but it's also, you know, just making sure everything is right. We don't have any type of complaints afterwards, and the athletes want to make sure they had a good shot at it.
Of course, and if they do decide to rerun this, it would only be the final two elements, being the 5 freestanding handstand push-ups and the 15 hang squat cleans. But dare I say, if the Sharks do not win this one, it is too far gone for them to come back from.
It's interesting. They got one more shot at it, one more at bat, as you might say, down to the last strike. Let's see what happens here.
Definitely. I'm interested to see whether or not they decide to rerun that. Why don't you comment down below whether you think they should rerun it or not, based off of what you've seen here today on the grid on the live stream. We want to give another quick shout out to the Barbell Spin for doing their spin cast on this championship match. Of course, this is a match that everybody has been fighting to compete for the whole entire season. You know, the Southwest Florida Sharks are 5-0 for the season, having just completed the playoffs this morning. The Wild only have one loss this season to the Sharks. Last time we saw them compete against each other. So just the fact that everybody's hard work is culminating today, I know means a lot.
Yeah, it's been a tough sledding for them today. It's like when what does it say? A hard mass meets an immovable force. Well, somebody's got to move or crumble. So we're seeing the Atlanta Wild, you know, be strong from the get-go, out the gate. They've been on fire, and you know, the Sharks didn't give up. They had a chance there to throw their bonus flags when they needed. They were very strategic, but they looked to be just a step behind. But we'll see if they have to rerun it here. They still have a little bit of a shot.
That's right. Mather Wiswall is still deliberating with his team. They're reviewing the footage. They're using the timers to make sure that it would have definitively affected the outcome of the race, and we'll find out in just a minute. Commissioner on the grid with the head referee. We'll be right back.
All right, here we go. We're doing a thumb war tournament to see which Briley is cooler. Sponsored by JerkFit. Loser.
3, okay.
Round 2, fight.
It's grippy.
Yeah, it's sticky.
Final round, fight.
How long is it? 2, 3, got it. Winner takes all.
Shoot.
All right, there we go. It's palm. That's right.
There's a lot of sports out there that don't have the coverage that they deserve. We want to fix the holes that we see in event medicine. Elite 7 has extensive experience in all sports. We really have a passion and are really excited about serving some of those more underserved communities and growing sports such as CrossFit, combat sports, where they have different injuries and they just really need specialized care. We want to provide this continuity of care that does not exist at all in sports right now.
You know that the hardest thing here is not doing the movement, is for me, it was that I was afraid.
Oh, wow.
I was afraid of letting go.
Wow.
So I was so scared. Sorry, I can't even remember. But then one day we were training at Griffin and at the practice, and Storm was like, if we could have one woman that could do this movement, that would change the whole season for us. He didn't say Paula, but I was like, damn, I have to do this. And then there was nothing on the internet.
Right.
So I asked Andres to send me a video of him doing it, one guy of my team.
Yeah.
So I would look at his video every day, guys, every day.
Wow.
So, and one day I was dreaming and I just dreamed of myself doing it. I swear, I picture myself doing it. I woke up in the morning, I was like, I'm going to swim in my gym. And I just went straight, warm up, and just did it.
Oh, wow.
That was crazy.
That's crazy.
That was crazy. So yeah, it's more that I was scared of just letting go. But if you keep your core tight, your body love, it's fine.
We're all sports vehicles to some degree as athletes, and it's about what kind of gas you put in the tank. Heart and Soul is definitely a game changer. I can imagine going back after taking a supplement like this.
Well, friends, it looks like they're bringing out the rule book. So it looks like they brought out the rule book. It's a thick one. They're reviewing still, but it's looking like we are going to rerun this race, and we are going to see who will finish. If they do rerun it, of course, it will be the final 2 elements, but it's not going to be easy. Dan Jackson, who was just coach of the Atlanta Wild, coach and owner, he was just in here trying to figure out for himself what to do. Of course, he doesn't want those points taken away from his team, but he does what he can to try to protect his team. And they were already celebrating, saying that they won the championship, but they will rerun because it was a referee error in not communicating the reps needed on one station. And who knows how fast the Sharks would have gone if they would have known that they had a chance. Once you see the other team pass the finish line, there's kind of like a point of no return turn. So it's like, okay, let's just not get too fatigued here. No reason to hurry up, kind of thing. So you never know what could have happened.
Yes, the rule book is law. So when you pull out the rule book, it's no games being played. So we're going to see what happens here. They're still trying to work out some kinks here. They're still having a conversation. So we're going to see what happens as we move forward.
100%. So we're going to go ahead and reset the grid. I want to apologize to all our friends at home, our friends at Barbell Spin. Thank you for your patience with us. This is a moment that everybody's been waiting for the entire year, working for the entire year. Countless practices, countless matches, countless, conversations. So thank you for our patience as we try to make this as fair as possible. We'll be right back.
Oh, man.
Well, we are back. I'm here with coach and owner of the Daytona Beach Venom, Paul Bear. Paul, you just saw what happened on the grid. What are your thoughts?
Man, reruns like this are so stressful. There's so many angles, like one camera could have seen this and another camera could have seen that, and then you're trying to piece together, what part of the rules were broken or what reps didn't count or something. What was the confusion? It's a lot of different moving pieces.
So it looks like there was a referee error because they didn't put their hand up when a player left the grid, denoting that there were reps to be completed. If that happened to your team, what would be your reaction?
I would fight for it. It looks like they're having a standing over there, but I would fight tooth and nail, especially where the Sharks are coming from. If the Wild win one more race, like if they had won that one, then they would have clinched it and not even had to complete the sprint relay. But so the Sharks need to have won that triad to be able to still be in contention.
That's right. So it looks like we're going to rerun the last two elements, barring any issues. Who do you think has this one?
The Wild had it from the beginning, so I think the Wild might take it.
But the beginning isn't a factor anymore.
That's a good point. And the Sharks do have some gymnastics specialists, but the Wild are really, man, this one's tough. Can we flip a coin? Let's go back to Vegas.
Was this going the way that you expected it, this match?
The programming is definitely strength heavy, so the match could have gone in either way. I did personally think the Sharks would have won some more, so it's really been an awesome match, that's for sure.
Awesome. What can we look forward to next season from your team?
Oh, that's a secret.
Oh, all right. I guess we'll keep our secrets here. Thank you so much for your time. We'll be right back.
All right.
83 seconds.
All right, let's see that rerun. The Sharks are still in the game. They threw out that last score. The Sharks are still able to overcome and possibly make it.
Yes.
And still have a chance to win the championship. But if they don't, it's the Wild. It's the Wild championship. A lot of pressure going into this male triad.
One more chance for the Sharks. One more at-bat. One more strike. Let's see what happens out there.
The energy here is electric.
Ready. Stand by.
I'm digging my nails into my palms. This is absolutely electrifying. Starting off with the 5 freestanding handstand push-up. Whoever can do these the fastest, these last two elements, Blake Kidder is ready to complete. Oh no, a fault from the Sharks.
No!
Off. 15 hang squat cleans, 155 pounds. Can the Sharks overcome Roderick Holloway, Nick Shappy, Guillermo Nunez, Roelle, Hibbard, Kidder? Who will take it? Hands up for the Wild. Another hand up for the Wild. Hand up for the Sharks. Final hand up for the Wild. Who will take this? 2 reps. Oh no, a fault from the Shark. He was already finished.
Nunez.
They gave it up. The standing remains. The Wild took it.
No, the Sharks tried to bunt on the last strike, and it's over. They look dejected, and I would too, Cassie.
Coach Dan Jackson has the biggest look of relief on his face. He had the championship in his hand. It was almost taken from him. He brought it back. He just handed us some kind of stopwatch timer.
The face broke off of it.
He broke the face off of it. In all his excitement, he crushed it in his hands. Dan Jackson, the Wild, the Sharks. What just happened, Byram?
Listen, they had a shot. The Sharks had a chance, like we just said. They had a couple chances, actually. So it came down to technique. And that's what's been happening with a lot of these teams over the last couple of days. It hasn't been that they couldn't get the workout done or the element done. It's been strategy, and it came out to bite them again.
So the Sharks had a chance. It looks like the nerves got to them. The nerves got to them. They messed up things that they usually never mess up. They were in the finish line before they were supposed to be in the finish line, causing a lot of faults. I think it was too far gone for it to matter at that point, but the score remains 17 for the Wild, 13 for the Sharks. There's no coming back from it.
Yep.
Unless they threw a bonus flag, which they don't have in play anymore. They threw it on the Jack and Jill. This is a dominant showing from the Atlanta Wild. There's no way that you can dispute it.
Yes, it's like they say back home in New York, it is a Reynolds wrap.
Yeah. That was super exciting. We're getting into the sprint relay. It is the Wild's match, championship match. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's see how they do on the sprint relay. And for the final time, we'll be right back.
The sprint relay is the final race of every match and is worth an extra point for the race win. It is a relay race with one player allowed on the grid at a time and 8 elements to perform. Any player can perform on any element, and substitutions can happen at any time, except when a player performs the last rep of an element. In that case, the player must run back to the start line, perform a 4-point touch behind the start line, and sprint through to the finish line, permanently leaving the race. The next player may enter once the previous one has crossed the finish line. The only exception is the distance element that ends at the finish line with no sprint back required. The catch is, 4 men and 4 women must finish the 8 elements. The sprint relay is a great balance of strategy to decide which players in what order are the best combination, along with clean and well-executed elements by the players, to lead to the best race outcome for the team. Remember, 4 men and 4 women must finish the 8 elements in the sprint relay.
MP.
All right, folks, welcome back to the grid. As you can see, we are here with the Atlanta Wild, who are almost effectively the champions. But before we can call them champion, they have to get this flip sled all the way down this grid. This flip sled weighs 300 pounds. It's almost like a small fridge that they have to flip. It has to take some teamwork. They got to put their hips into it. They got to put their backs into it. I think they can do it. Let me see if I can get down here and see. You can see it's a lot of weight right there. They're going to try to make sure that it's nice and tight, because we had an issue one time before where the place fell off. We're going to make sure that this doesn't happen again. But once again, this is a 300-pound flip sled, and let's get this down the grid in a timely fashion. Back to you at the desk.
We are getting ready for the sprint relay. The Wild worked really hard for this. You know, both teams worked really hard. The Atlanta Wild were just the stronger team. Tom Soroka said it from the beginning. We saw it happen. We saw the story unfold in front of us. The Atlanta Wild were the Cinderella team going into this, you know. There's no way of shaking it. Earlier in the season, the Wild lost to the Sharks, so everybody was kind of expecting at least a little bit of a closer matchup. But it looks like the Wild are just dominating the grid today.
They are. But like we said, Cassie, they came out of the gate hot. They were ready. They were focused. Even in the pregame, they were confident, and they showed up and showed out today. The Sharks, you know, it's over for them, you know. But we got to make sure that they finish up the Wild. So let's see if they can make sure they get all the way to that championship officially.
I have have to say I'm happy that it was these two teams in particular. We said it earlier in the day. These are the two teams that really deserve to be in the championship. We're glad that we got rid of the conferences so that the best can reign champion. And it looks like the Wild are the champions. You know, we've seen these two teams go against each other, a little bit of a rivalry going back and forth, players going back and forth between them, and it looks like the Wild were able to take it.
And as a competitive athlete for the Southwest Florida Sharks, I know if I'm the athlete, I want to finish strong. I want to build on my own confidence and my own game, continue to get ready for 2025 because it's only up from here. So
that's right.
You know,
I'm sure it hurts from the Shark side. I'm sure they thought they had it in the bag, and you know, getting so close after so many changes from both sides, and it's just been a longer road for the Wild.
Absolutely.
Rebuilding, doing all those things.
Hey, you know, they got some good peoples on both sides. They're friends and family. This is basically one big happy family if you actually knew the storyline between some of these players out here. I'm sure they're going to probably celebrate with each other to some degree tonight. But on the grid, it's all about the Atlanta Wild right now.
Absolutely, and it's really cool because the Wild didn't even go to the playoffs last season. You know, the Sharks went to the playoffs against the Aces, and the Wild were able to just rebuild completely and come back as a stronger team, which is all you could really hope for at that point.
Now, how many national teams have won grid? Most of them, all of them have been Florida-based, Cassie, or what do you think?
So the Atlanta Wild is actually our first national team as part of the United Grid League. This is our first season as the United Grid League. This is our first national team. So it's been a while, you know. So we had the NPGL formerly, but this is a new factor of grid. It was the Gainesville Wild, but now they are the Atlanta Wild. Well, let's go ahead and look into the movement graphic so we can see what we can look forward to in this sprint relay.
All right, folks, the final race of today, the final race of the Masters Championship round. Let's go into the actual factors of the sprint relay. We are starting off with the 60-pound double dumbbell shoulder to overhead, 10 of those in the first quadrant. We got 100-pound D-ball squats, 10 of those in the second quadrant. We have 4 back up rises. We have 3 legless rope climbs. We have 80-inch flip sled that is at 100 pounds. We have chest to bar pull-ups, 20 of those. We have 60 40-pound plate handstands to step overs, and we have 3 350-pound cleans to clean everything up in the fourth quadrant.
That's right, and no doubt about it, the Sharks have been serious competitors. I'm sure both of these teams, regardless of the outcome of the match itself, will fight tooth and nail for the sprint relay. You know, it's a pride thing. You got to finish strong. Yes. Sprint relay is worth 3 points. The Wild have taken it farther than you can. You know, the Sharks let it get out of their control, and now we'll see who just finishes the sprint relay.
Yes, you still got to finish your breakfast, even though you don't want to. You got to keep that extra energy going, you know, going on to the next year. I like finishing the fourth quarter strong. That's one of my mottos, so let's finish up strong. Yeah, you may be behind a little bit, but let's keep building on the team, building on each other.
100%, and I'm happy to see that everybody is still in good spirits. You know, the Sharks have great camaraderie. The Wild have great camaraderie as well. Respect between the two teams. Everybody's still joking around and laughing on the grid. Shout out to Olipop for those fresh jerseys, Peachy Athletics for the shorts, Valor Fitness for all the equipment that you see on the grid and the rig itself. Gooder glasses for keeping our eyes shaded when we go to the beach in Fort Lauderdale later on tomorrow. All that good stuff. So amazing season from all the teams. Congratulations to our teams, our players, all the participants, our staff, all the people who stepped up during the Vegas matches. You can find out more about that on the documentary on our YouTube channel. United Grid League. Referees for keeping the standards. Spirit of sports and fairness. Sprint relays happening in just about 30 seconds.
I will always say, too, shout out to all of the teams that showed up and showed out today. Like you said, even back in Vegas, you know, everybody that couldn't make it, they were here today. Just a great showing for the whole league. You know, it was tough for the league this year. So it took a lot of us pulling it together to make it happen, and we're ready to finish strong.
That's right. Why don't you comment down what city you're from down below, and hopefully we could get a grid team out there ASAP. We're going national with this thing. Now is the time to get in. Sprint relay starting. Let's see it.
Stand by.
We're starting off with 10 double dumbbell shoulder to overheads at 60 pounds. That's Jenna Riddle for the Sharks, Sidney Wilson for the Wild. Hands up in the air for both of these teams. It looks like they're just about even. Oh, Sidney Wilson finishing ahead, 4-point touch, and she's going to sprint to the finish line. Of course, this is a specialist thing. You're going to send out the player who's the best at whatever. They're going to 4-point touch at the start line, then they're going to go all the way back. David McKellar coming out for that 100-pound D-ball squat, and that is Sidney Witter for the Sharks.
And I like how the Atlanta Wild are still competing. They're not just going through the motions. That's show respect for your opponent. Yeah, they could just stroll through this thing. They have won the chip, but they want to finish strong as well and put on a good showing for the people.
That's right. Sidney Witter is out of here. RJ Hibbert is in for the Wild. That's 4 back up rises. It's a muscle up, except you're going backwards. So for a muscle up, you would go on a frontward plane and have the bar pass over the front of your body. But here for the backward uprise, you're going backwards into it. David Blatt was able to make up some time for the Sharks there for those. RJ Hibbert doing great on those as well. Quentin Ambrosio coming in for the Sharks. That's Blake Kidder. Both of these men going legless for 3 rope climbs here. 2 more remaining. Quentin Ambrosio going as fast as he can, making up some serious time. We saw his brother join the Aces earlier this season, being very skilled. I guess it just runs in the family or something. 1 rep remaining for this rope climb. Yana Babbitt is going to come in and finish off the rest for Blake Kidder. Now it looks like Nick Shappy, haven't seen him in a while. He's coming back for that flip sled. They added 100 pounds to it, making it about 350. He's flipping it over like it's cake. We saw him get fatigued earlier. That's why they couldn't do the ringer point. Things just went wrong for the Sharks today, but it's still anybody's. The Sharks with a slight lead. Tom Soroka trying to make up as much ground as possible for that flip sled. Look at that thing just going out of control. He is seriously fast with it. Sam Nalley is coming out for the Sharks. She's going to be doing those 20 chest to bar pull-ups. She's already started on those. Slight lead here for the Sharks. Carrie Billington's going to come out and she's going to do the same exact thing. Carrie Billington, of course, doing amazing all match. One of the better gymnasts, and Sam Nalley, of course, one of the better utility players. Shout out to both of these ladies here.
I'm just out here enjoying the action. This final sprint relay, I like to call it organized chaos. There's a lot going on out here, but we already know that it is definitely organized. I just want to give a shout out to Nick Shappy, man. He didn't have to come back. You know, he was fatigued, but he's putting it all out there for his team. He came back to compete in this final race, showing you the heart that you need. He's not giving up, and we love that. That's what grit is all about.
That's right. Carrie Billington did quite a bit of work here today. Amanda Fischer getting started on those 6-plate handstand step overs. Meanwhile, Chelsea Rainieri already finished. Those are 45-pound Valor plates that they are trapezing over. Luis Guillermo Nunez is going to come out for the Southwest Florida Sharks. There's 3 cleans at 315 pounds. Griffin Roelle coming out to finish them off. Meanwhile, Luis Guillermo Nunez already finishing them off. 4-point touch, and that is a race win for the Southwest Florida Sharks.
Nice win by the Florida Sharks there. I'm looking at those Purple Heart. What a way to finish it. You got to finish it with the gold bars and the purple plates. What a better way to finish up. Shout out to Valor Fitness, and what a great finish to our season. The 2024 champions are the ATL Wild.
That's right. Even though the Southwest Florida Sharks won that race, they lost the match. There was a point deficit that they just could not overcome. Shout out to the Atlanta Wild. They've worked hard all season with the leadership of Dan Jackson, Coach John Chen helping out as well. Everybody doing what they can, doing their part. A lot of missing pieces that they added this season. I know that they're just happy that all their hard work culminated. The Southwest Florida Sharks, of course, doing great work all season. A beautiful Cinderella story that we saw today. I know a lot of people didn't expect the Wild to have such a dominant showing. Of course, they were giving respect to such a great team, but not at the capacity that they did, so to speak. So amazing 2 teams. Shout out to every single player and coach on the grid for this match. All the work that came into putting this championship match together.
Listen, that's what it is like that. Cassie, we always say the game is the game. Sometimes the better team wins, you know. It doesn't go your way every time, and that's just how it goes. You can see the camaraderie between the two teams right there. There's a lot of family between the two teams. A lot of these teams have never made it, never won. You know, some have been here several times and still haven't won. That's just the way it goes, but I'm proud of both teams. Great showing, first and second seed, I think. So it turned out the way we expected it to be, and a great finish for us.
That's right. What an amazing season. What an amazing showing. Thank you all for watching at home. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment where you're from so we can get a grid team near you, and ring that bell to be alerted of any videos that we may come out with, and as well as starting the season. Hopefully we started a little bit earlier. I cannot wait for next season. The Atlanta Wild are your 2024 United Grid League champions. But for now, I'm Cassie Martinez.
And I'm